So we've talked about MOC, continuous MOC, MOL, and just when you thought things couldn't get any worse, MOST, most. And I know that there are probably many of you out there who think that you've mastered this skill at probably age 4 or 5, but there's some people that think, you know, maybe we need to retest and recertify this so that we can make sure that you maintain competence in this skill. So MOST stands for Maintenance of Shoe Tying. And it was actually created by former shoe repair guys who figured out a way to make a lot of money, more than they were making, in fact, in the shoe repair business. So they got together and they formed the American Board of Shoe Tying, the ABST. And they lobbied their legislators in each and every state, and they got a law passed which required everyone using shoelaces to have a shoe tying license. And they constructed a written examination on proper shoe tying and charged examinees a hefty fee. And the former shoe repair guys, they claimed that millions of people were tripping over untied or poorly tied shoelaces every year and injuring themselves and others. They also claimed that over the years, people tend to get sloppy and forget how to tie their own shoes properly. So to protect the public from poor quality shoe tires, they claimed a continuous maintenance of shoe tying program is needed. And so most, they claim, is all about saving lives by ensuring high quality shoe tying by all citizens. Meanwhile, the sons and the daughters of the former shoe repair guys saw how much money was being made by the former shoe repair guys and decided they too would like part of this lucrative revenue stream. So they formed the American Academy of Shoe Tying, and they sold all of the continuing shoe tying modules, self-assessment modules, and performance and practice modules needed to comply with the American Board of Shoe Tying Maintenance of Shoe Tying requirements. And here they are. There are basically 4 categories of most requirements. Number 1, professional standing, means that you have a continuous possession of an unrestricted shoe tying license, costs about $700. There's lifelong learning requirement, 25 continuing shoe tying education modules and 2 self-assessment modules per year at a cost of about $2,500 per year. And this is an example of continuing shoe tying education. The one on the left there is good, and the one on the right there is bad. And this is a self-assessment module, and this special mirror, for a mere cost of $500, is available for sale by the American Academy of Shoe Tying, and you can purchase this and do your self-assessment module. And then, of course, there's the cognitive examination, which you must pass, and this is given about every 5 years at a cost of about $2,000 for the examination fee. So at the risk of being sued, I will reveal one of the exam questions to you. Which type of bow tie knot is most appropriate when going through airport screening? Is it A, the single bow tie knot, or B, the double bow tie knot? How many think it's A? Okay, how many think it's B? It is, of course, neither. While the single bow tie knot takes less time to undo while waiting in the airport security line, shoes must be removed before going through airport security, and therefore neither a single bow tie or a double bow tie knot is appropriate when going through airport security. And then, of course, there's the practice quality improvement or performance in practice module, where you must get others to assess your ability to tie your own shoes. You must keep records of shoe tying metrics to compare with national benchmarks. And you must develop a written plan for shoe tying improvement. And you must implement that written plan for shoe tying improvement, and then you must compile the data to show the results of your improvement plan which you implemented. And you must demonstrate that you are meeting systems-based shoe tying standards. So that means being able to tie your shoe within 5 seconds or less, making sure that your shoelaces are the same length every time so that you come out with a symmetrical bow. And of course, in the lower right-hand corner is what you want to avoid, which is the uneven bow tie knot. So what do MOC MOL, which is essentially mandatory MOC, have in common with MOST? Well, they're not evidence-based, as we've heard. There's no evidence that those who participate in MOC provide higher quality care, just like there's no evidence that those who participate in most are able to tie their shoes in a higher quality fashion. They are designed to enrich those who have found a way to capture the regulatory mechanism, and they restrict access. That is, MOC, MOL restricts access to physicians that patients may wish to choose, and most restricts access to using shoelaces to tie one's own shoes. So, how do we fight back against MOC and MOL? And basically, it requires personal commitment. This is not something that you can delegate to someone else to do. This is something that requires a lot of personal time, effort, and sometimes money on your part, in addition to follow-through. You can't depend on someone else to do this. Now, medical licenses are granted by states, of course, and therefore it's important to work through your state medical societies to get resolutions passed that oppose mandatory MOC and implementation of MOL. And you don't have to reinvent the wheel every time. We have a lot of resources on our AAPS website, including the model resolutions, and we have other helpful things, resources on the AAPS website, letters, that sort of thing. And what you need to do is start at the county medical society level and get these resolutions passed so that they can be taken to your state medical society level at the House of Delegates to be passed. And initially, you may find that there's a good bit of opposition to this. And you have to be persistent and follow through. You'll hear a lot of arguments about why it is that physicians should not oppose MOC or MOL. And here are some of the common ones. Opposing MOC, MOL is anti-continuing medical education and anti-quality. The media will view physicians as being against quality care. And as we've learned, that's ridiculous. Most physicians are lifelong learners, but are not interested in lifelong larceny. If we don't impose MOC, MOL on ourselves, someone else will do it, and it will be much worse. The more self-regulation, the better. More bad regulations like MOC, MOL are the solution to getting rid of the bad apples in medicine. You might also earn a bonus of $9,000 if you comply with MOC. Some say, well, let's do it for the money. Then there are others that say, if it isn't mandated, physicians just won't do it. Well, if it's not mandated that you go jump off the bridge into the river, people just won't do it. Resolutions opposing mandatory MOC and MOL are too inflammatory and too confrontational. Translation, it might upset those who are oppressing physicians. You hear this a lot. Oh, this is just too inflammatory. We have to change this. We can't be upsetting these people at the American Board of Internal Medicine and the American Board of Medical Specialties. We need to tone it down a bit. There are some that argue the AMA likely would not support resolutions opposing MOC and MOL, and there are some, of course, state medical societies that are closely aligned with the AMA, and they don't want to do anything that the AMA might frown upon or not support. But we do note that the AMA does seem to be aware of and avail themselves of regulatory capture in other areas, such as the secret agreement that the AMA made with the government to use the CPT coding system as the exclusive coding system in government programs. If we pass a resolution opposing MOL, the medical board in our state might find out about it, and we will be waking a sleeping giant. This is an argument I heard. But you know, the Federation of State Medical Boards is made up of, guess what? Members from each of the medical boards of all the states. The medical boards already know about this. You're not waking any sleeping giants. So basically what this is let's stick our head in the sands and not raise this issue and oppose it because, gee, they might figure out that this is something they ought to be implementing. Well, the plan's already in place. The FSMB has already put their implementation plan in place. They've chosen the pilot states, one of which was Ohio, and thankfully Ohio fought back and defeated it. Again, AAPS has the educational resources to help fight against MOC and MOL. It's on aapsonline.org. We've got a model letter to help educate county and state medical society physicians on MOC and MOL. You can often get the email addresses, by the way, of officers and the executive director of your county medical societies in your state by going on your state medical society website. We also, as I mentioned, have model resolutions, and we also have model legislation. It was also published in the journal in the fall of 2012. The main thing is that once you get these resolutions passed in the state, the fight isn't over at that point. You need to take these resolutions to your state legislators, and you need to show them the model legislation which will prohibit any new maintenance of licensure requirements in your state. This is the follow-through that's necessary, because in Ohio, it's true that the simple passage of the resolution by the Ohio State Medical Association seemed to derail it, at least for the time being. That's not going to deter them long-term, and you need to follow through with legislation which actually prohibits them from implementing MOL in your state. AAPS is also conducting a cost of MOC OCC survey. OCC is, of course, the osteopathic counterpart of MOC, and as Jules showed us recently, there's a lot of costs that really aren't being considered, I think, when we're looking at the total cost of complying with MOC. It's not just the cost of the examination or the cost of some of these modules. It's the cost of time away from practice. It's the cost of traveling to these things. It's the cost of getting locums tenens coverage and that sort of thing. So we are conducting a survey, and we're trying to collect data which is designed to show the true cost of participating in MOC or OCC. So if you have participated in MOC or OCC or have participated in the past, please take the time to fill out the AAPS cost of MOC survey, and here's the link. But if you simply search on the AAPS website, cost of MOC survey, you will find it. And as I said, this would be very useful information, of course, for us to have in our lawsuit against the American Board of Medical Specialties, to be able to say, you know what, the cost of participating in this isn't simply the cost of the exam. It is this cost, which includes all the costs. Also, I would remind you that it would help if you could donate to our American Health Legal Foundation to support our lawsuit against the American Board of Medical Specialties, and of course other important lawsuits like AAPS versus Obamacare. And again, here is the link to that. But if, again, you simply search on the AAPS website under AAPS Takes MOC to Court, you will again find the link to donate to the American Health Legal Foundation. It is a tax-deductible donation. So I'm going to end today by asking if anybody knows what this is.
It looks like something to kill deer with.
No, it's nothing to kill deer with. It turns out this is rebar. And it is the only type of rebar that you will find in this country. This type of rebar is used by the land surveying profession to mark boundaries. You will not find rebar used by the legal profession. That is, attorneys are not required to take the bar examination every 5 or 10 years to remain capable of practicing law. And with that, we'll end, and I thank you for your attention today, and we'll have time for questions afterwards here. Thank you.